Dr. B. How's it going?
It is going well, and thank you all for joining. What about remembering me?
Welcome back, everybody.
So, today's
Mhm.
topic,
Mhm.
we're always talking about self care, but today's topic is going to really be centered around those of us, and I'm including myself because I am part of this
Mhm.
with infants and toddlers.
Mhm. Mhm.
And how do we take care of ourselves when we are caring for these children who
Mhm.
are fully dependent
Mhm.
upon us?
Mhm. Mhm. Because I think listen, I think it is like a taboo. One of these things that go unsaid, right? Especially when you become a new parent, when you become a new caregiver, that this is supposed to be like the highlight of your life. Like this is what you prayed for. It is supposed to be joy, bliss, and fairy tales, right? And it is something like you really can't complain about. And when you start complaining, like, oh my gosh, this is challenging, people start looking at you all strange and odd, like, but you have this beautiful bundle of joy. You have these beautiful babies. You were built for this. This is your time. Like, no, no.
So, for full transparency, I have a toddler and
Mm,
I have an infant,
mm,
and it's a lot.
it is. Mm,
And yes, I prayed for them, and
mm,
so God gave me what it is that I asked for,
mm.
which was I asked for a baby. I didn't fully understand all that
Everything.
meant that came with them. And
Right?
so
Mm,
I have had to learn what self care is
yeah.
now that I am no longer an adult that's childless. There
Mm,
is a shift, there is a difference. And it's
mm,
understanding that how we took care of ourselves before children, all that we did to just run the streets, whether it's just like I can just do whatever it is I want, whenever it is that I want to do it,
mm,
that changes. Like the day you go to the hospital, like it's
mm,
completely it's over.
mm,
And as like my husband said when like our first son came out of me, he was like, it just felt like somebody took me out in the middle of the ocean and just dropped me in it.
mm,
He's like, that's how it felt. And he was like,
mm.
and I still don't think I've come up.
You're still out there doggy paddling,
I don't even know if we're doggy paddling.
waiting for the rescue boat, waiting for like shooting our flares up there in the air.
And so we're going to talk about self-care and being realistic.
Mhm.
Because when you do your research, let's talk about this. I
Yeah.
really don't like when people try to tell new moms
Mhm.
just sleep.
Mm.
Where they do that at?
Like when? Okay, because let's talk about the sleep cycle of a newborn. Seriously. Okay. You act like they're sleeping for 8 hours at a time. No, they're
They're
sleeping.
not doing that. And that sleep when they sleep, and it's like,
Mm.
okay, so when am I supposed to bathe? When
Mhm.
am I supposed to eat?
Mhm.
And if I have another child, when am I supposed to take care of them? It's
Mhm.
I went to the doctor and she told me that. She was just like, you just need to sleep. She was like, I know what it's like to have children. And
Mm.
like I took a nap. You must have had somebody
Yes. Mhm.
because this is not that's not healthy. So even
Yeah.
if you don't have children, if you are hearing this, we
Mhm.
don't want to hear just sleep because trust,
Yeah.
we do want to sleep.
Yes. Of course we do. Of course we do.
But
Yeah.
I think the main thing that really comes with in terms of self-care, and we've talked about this consistent theme, is about having a village.
Yeah. Mhm.
And it's having the support of your partner, having the support of family, having the support of trusted people.
Mhm.
But I want that break.
Yeah.
I love that baby to death,
Mhm.
but I had to get past my own
Yeah.
trauma from my past.
Mhm.
And you may have to work through that. Like, yes, this is how you grew up. My
Mhm.
grandparents, I had to live with them. I had to do all this stuff. My grandparents, I'm going to be there for my children. They're not going to have to depend on their grandparents. And I
Mhm.
had to change that
Okay.
mindset
Mhm. Yeah.
because how I grew up was very different than
Mhm.
how my children are growing up with seeing their grandparents. Love my grandparents,
Mhm.
but my children are seeing grandparents as kind of traditionally what we expect them to
Mhm.
be is
Yeah. Mhm.
somebody to go run and
Yeah.
have fun with and play with.
Mhm. Yes.
And they're there and waiting and willing. And so
Mhm.
it's finding your village,
Mhm.
whomever they may be. So if
Mhm.
there is that time where you're like, I just, I just need a break.
Yeah. Mhm.
And are you ready and willing to give me 2, 3 hours
Mhm.
to sleep,
Yeah.
to grocery shop alone and
Okay.
not have to figure out everything because your life changes. It's you do everything between when was the last time they were fed? Like that, that's what how your
Mhm.
life is when
Yeah.
did I last feed this baby?
Mhm. Pretty much, pretty much. And I want to talk about this village because, just historically over time and talking to clients about some of the barriers that come up when they say, well, I don't have a village, or I'm living somewhere where I'm kind of isolated from my family. It is just
Hmm.
me. This is a great opportunity. And this is something that we've talked about before is about how do you create your village, right? Who are the people? Now, this is an opportunity to create some chosen family, for
Hmm.
yourself. For some folks, chosen family is a quality childcare setting. And I know there are a lot of taboos, especially in the Black community in terms of childcare. And, I don't want to trust a young baby with childcare. My baby can't speak. My baby can't tell me what is going on in there. This is why I go back to saying quality childcare, right? We want to
Yes.
get on our state sites because quality childcare, they have to get a license from the state. And that is just our first, line of defense too, as well. Going looking up, okay, well, what is the state saying about them? Were there, it's just like how they check out restaurants and the state will put it
You can
on
read
their
the
website.
reviews and where
You
they were
can read the
compliant at, where
reviews.
they were non-compliant at.
Exactly. A good child care is going to let you go in there and observe. Are the children
Hmm.
happy? Do the teachers look happy? Because we know that child care workers are one of the most underpaid professions out there. And it really takes somebody to say, okay, I'm passionate about doing this work. Do the children look happy? Do the child care workers look happy? Is this a place that looks developmentally stimulating? Does it smell good or does it smell like pee? These are the questions that you want to ask yourself in terms of investigating, oh my gosh, because this could be your creative village. These childcare workers got some magic up in them. Like,
Magic.
how do you get 10 babies to sleep at the same time? And I'm struggling trying to get one baby to sleep at one little time. These are your people who are the baby whisperers that you tap into. And it's like, show me your ways. I think about the toddlers too. It's like, how do you teach this boy how to pee? Like, how does he do it here with no problems, but we got problems at my house? This is an opportunity to say, how do I create my village, and how do I begin to think about some non-traditional ways that this village, if it's not my family, is it a play group? Do I build a connection with folks in my play group? But it's thinking about, okay, yeah, even if your family isn't here or you don't have friends here, this using the time of pregnancy or the time of, those early weeks of, the postpartum period to really focus on, okay, I have to do some work and I have to create a village for myself. What is it going to look like?
Thank you.
Mhm.
We can't talk about self-care without really addressing the fact that postpartum depression
Mhm.
is real.
It's real.
Nearly 80% of the women who give birth are going to experience it. And it usually lasts around like 2 weeks.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily go beyond that, but it does for others.
Mhm.
And it's okay,
Mhm.
but it's about being open and honest about
Mhm.
where you're at.
Mhm.
I can't speak for any other pediatricians, but they'll send out those
Mhm.
ASQs and all the
Mhm.
screeners to figure out what's going on with your child, but they also send out the depression
Mhm.
scale.
Mhm.
And so that's your time to say, yes, I'm filling out all this stuff about the baby, but they're actually asking about you
Mhm.
and wanting to know where are you at?
Mhm.
And they can help you and they can direct you where it is that you need to go. But we have to be willing to be honest and say,
Mhm.
this is a lot. I don't really know how I'm feeling. I have been feeling sad. It doesn't mean that I don't love my baby. Our
Mhm.
hormones are all over the place.
Mhm.
We're readjusting to getting less sleep. We're readjusting to everything about our lives are changing
Mhm.
for this little person.
Mhm. Mhm.
And it can be overwhelming at times of just so much change so quickly. Even
Mhm.
though we've had all this entire pregnancy to prepare, it's still
Mhm.
not the same
Yeah. Mhm.
as
Yeah.
when they're there. And so I definitely say a self-care tip is being honest
Mhm.
and reaching out for help.
Mhm. Mhm. I think what we should do is in the commentary in the notes for this episode too as well is that we have a couple of national hotlines too as well, and I'm thinking
Hmm.
about Postpartum Support International. That's like a hotline, a 24/7 hotline, where you could just go ahead and call and say, this is the postpartum concern that I'm having, especially surrounding my mental health. Call those people. They will point you in the right direction of who you can speak to on a more long-term basis. But you mentioned something, Dr. B, about this is when we talk about good pediatricians and good OBGYNs
Hmm.
are the ones that are going to ask you and screen you. I had a client one time, Dr. B, tell me, oh, I can pass your depression screenings. I was like, time out. This is not a pass or fail. I don't need you to, I don't need you to I don't need you to say that, oh, yeah, everything is good, everything is great. No, I seriously gave you this screening to really gauge where you're at, what your concerns are, and to see how I might provide some interventions. Because we already know that your brain is just doing something regardless with all these hormones that have been released.
Hmm.
Your brain is just doing what it is supposed to be doing. Not to mention the environmental stuff that's going on around, within your household or just within your community. It is not a pass type fail to say that, oh yeah, everything is good. No, it is seriously tell me how you're doing. And if your pediatrician or OBGYN or your midwife isn't asking you, I'm not going to say they're trash, but I mean, seriously,
Oh, God.
they're not. That's a little harsh. But I'm really wondering, do you really care about my experience? And if they don't ask you, seriously tell them, like, this is hard. This is way harder than I anticipated. And I need to tap into some type of support. And they should get you connected to some support.
All right.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about when they're toddlers.
Oh, yeah.
And even when they're babies, it's really creating boundaries to
Mhm.
know, like, I'm going to take care of your needs. I'm going to be there for you. I'm going to love
Mhm.
you. But I see this a lot.
Mhm.
And I see this on Instagram, TikTok, everything, where mothers are saying they can't go to the bathrooms without their toddlers. Like I see the comments, people are like, they can't go to the bathrooms without their teenagers. Time out. Absolutely not. But you got to teach them.
Yeah. Mhm.
I go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
The only time my children are really with me in the bathroom is if we are out and about.
Yeah. Mhm.
Then you're in there with mommy.
Mhm.
And every now and then the baby is with me now, or it's just like, I'd
Mhm.
rather you just be in here than listening to all this screaming. But
Yeah.
overall, I am sitting on the commode alone. Have I walked out the bathroom and my son have his chair and his toys outside the door? Yes,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
okay with that. But
Mhm.
there is a boundary. And just recently, like he pulled open the door and I was like, no, that's not what we do. If a
Mhm.
door is closed, you need to knock on it and
Listen.
then be told you can enter. But we
Mhm.
have to teach them this. If we
Mhm.
teach them that I am fully accessible
Mhm.
at all times, when are we going to find time to
Mhm.
be alone?
Mhm.
Maybe your only quiet time is when you're sitting on that toilet and you're just sitting
Yeah.
there, nothing's even happening.
No,
But
you
I'm
could just be
just sitting
scrolling,
there
just scrolling
to just
through.
be like,
Mm.
whoo. And you're not going to hang out there for hours, but it's like, can I
Yeah.
just get this moment to
Yes.
myself?
Mhm.
But I've taught my oldest, like, I don't have the fingers coming underneath the door. There isn't the banging because
Mhm.
it's been taught since he was young.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to meet your needs, but I'm
Mhm.
allowed to step away
Mhm.
and go to the bathroom.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so we've got to teach our children that. We've got to
Mhm.
teach them the boundaries. We've got to teach them
Mhm.
the respect because, as a friend of mine say, like, they know how to get their needs met.
Totally. Mhm.
These children know how to get their needs met. They cry, they
Mhm.
scream, they
Mhm.
whine, they're going to come, pull, whatever. I'm trying to get one off the breast right now that's
Mhm.
breastfeeding. And what does he do?
Mhm.
He comes, yanks open my shirt, and he sticks his head down in my
Yeah.
shirt. Hands in there. He going from
Everything.
childcare. They
Yeah.
let you know their needs.
Mhm.
And that's such a great quality.
Yeah. Mhm.
But we as adults, we
Mhm.
tend to lose that about making sure that we're getting our needs met. And
Mhm.
so this is a way, because
Mhm.
do you really want a 4-year-old in there with you?
No.
Do you want your 7-year-old in there with you?
Mhm. Mm-mm.
And it's just healthy
Mm.
boundaries.
Mhm. Mhm.
Do you have any commentary, Dr. Val?
I do. And it's like, I think more caregivers need to hear that. It's like, we wonder about, okay, because I think with a lot of our adult clients, we're just now beginning to teach boundaries and what it's like to
Mm-hmm.
enforce boundaries. But when we say, oh my gosh, we can begin to teach a toddler, certain boundaries, this is the culture of our home, this is how we do it here. It is just a mirroring of, I'm going to meet your needs, right? And you can meet my need too, as well. I'm going to get you engaged with something while I go take care of myself, my hygiene, and come right back to you. And it's like, it's showing them that, yes, in fact, I do come back, right? Which toddlers need to see. It's like, oh my gosh, she kept her word. This is what consistency looks like. This is what routine, looks like, within, our household too, as well. I had a toddler at one time who would want me to stay there. I'm not gonna name no names. Stay there in the bathroom with her, right? While she's using the bathroom, hold my hand, while
Oh,
I'm using the
girl,
bathroom.
I've been there.
And it's
Sometimes I
like,
get pulled
no, I
into
will
that.
paint it. I will paint the picture for you. The bathroom, this is one of your sacred spaces along with your bedroom, too, as well. This is your opportunity to, okay, be alone, handle your business. I'll be right here, out here when you're needed. What do you need to help bring you comfort, while you're in here? Because as they get older, them smells do become a little bit more pungent. And it's like, I love you, but no, I can allow you your space, to be in here to handle your business while you're in here too. So what is it that you need, in this space, too, as well, to help me make you, more comfortable? Children hearing that we as parents, we have a need, which is not something that to say that, oh my gosh, it's something like, I need you to help me pay bills. No, I have a need too as well. I need 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and you can be here. I'm listening, I'm hearing you. You can give me 5 minutes, to hear that we as parents, we have needs. I'm going to honor your needs, mom. And because you always are honoring my needs, too, as well, as a child. It is okay, but it's how do we begin to establish a boundary? And these closed doors are important, right? Because we've had to process with children too, as well, opening a door, like close a door, lock it if you need to, because then we have to process what I saw happening behind a door that was supposed to be closed, a door that was supposed to be locked, right? And I got to put that into a developmental framework of processing what you just saw. Well, the door was supposed to be closed and locked, okay?
All that.
All that.
Which brings me to finding time with your partner.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's going to be different.
Yeah.
It
Mm-hmm.
may be that the spontaneity is out the
Yeah.
window,
Mm-hmm.
but it's planning. And it all doesn't always have to mean that you've got somebody to babysit your child,
Mm-hmm.
but it might be, you know what, this day during the week, after we put them down,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to cuddle up.
Mm-hmm.
What show on Netflix
Mm-hmm.
do we want to watch? Let's Uber Eats this meal, this restaurant that we know we definitely are not going to take a child to,
Exactly.
but we really like the
The
food.
food. Mm-hmm.
It might be just us talking to be like, where are you at? How are you feeling? What's going on with you?
Yeah.
What's happening in your world outside of these kids? And
Mm-hmm.
when you do go out, I've had to really push it for
Mm-hmm.
myself. Don't talk about them.
No.
You both are adults,
Mm-hmm.
and there are so many things that are going on in your lives
Yes.
besides the
Mm-hmm.
kid. They're taking up a lot of space.
Mm-hmm.
That they are.
Yes.
But there's still more. Like, you still
Mm-hmm.
have your dreams, you still have your aspirations, you still
Mm-hmm.
have your desires. And
Mm-hmm.
those will be the things that you all talk about and figure out, what
Mm-hmm.
else are we going to be doing with our lives?
Exactly.
Because you want to stay connected, because at some point in time, these kids grow up
And they
and they're
will.
going to leave,
Mm-hmm.
and they're going to go and live the life that they are choosing to lead. And where are you and your partner at?
Mm-hmm. Some things that, we did were day dates. lunchtime breaks, meet me here at this restaurant, or let's just go for a walk or something like that, or meet me over at the office. Bring your lunch, we will eat out in the parking lot, just an opportunity, to connect. Or it's like listening to certain podcasts. Okay, like while we're at work, we're both listening to these different podcasts so we can have an
Look
opportunity to
at
talk.
you.
No, you really have to be creative to say that, how do I maintain this connection, with, because the self-care, we're going to do a whole episode on this later on down the road about intimacy as self-care, too, as well. But what we notice, right? And this is what we see. A lot of things happen in the postpartum period, right? When we're not attuning to our self care and the self care of our relationship too, as well, right? It is a time that if certain insecurities were not
Mhm.
addressed, a baby being brought into the scene can really cause a disruption, within that relationship, in the context of that relationship between partners. So, really going into it being intentional about what are we going to do to say, how do we maintain our connection, in terms of self-care, what do I want from my partner, during this time? My body is feeling all types of different ways after birthing, this baby. My partner's ready to go, like, is it 6 weeks? Is it 8 weeks? Not what did the doctor say? Like, and it's like, like our bodies are being used for like nutrition. Our bodies are used for, connection and bonding. And it's like we really have to be intentional. My brain is doing all types of things where
Mhm.
my libido is not where it needs to necessarily be. But how do I be intentional? Because I know the intimacy piece is going to give me something. It's going to release some endorphins some way, somehow, within me. And that is self care, for me. So intentionally thinking what is going to work for you and your partner, and to have candid conversations. Like, I know that thing is not being touched. What you doing? Like, like, seriously, let's have a conversation. Like, I know things have changed. What's happening? What is going on, between us, too, as well. But I said that it foreshadowing for things that are
That's
to
to come.
come. But yeah, just to really think about, oh my gosh, that connection. Because you're right, Dr. B, they grow up, they leave. And it's like, these, and especially if we're having a couple of children, throughout the course, these could be some really interesting times throughout the course of the relationship. So, what are we doing to sustain that in terms of caring for that for ourselves and also for our partners?
And this last topic is
Mhm.
about our bodies. Our bodies go through a lot. From the moment conception has happened, even though we don't even realize it's happened, the body
Mhm.
is already changing.
Mhm.
And the body, even though I don't know who those women are, when I see it, I'm like, "Oh, that's real cute," where it
Yeah.
just bounces right back. Like that's nice.
Yeah.
But it's you accepting
Mhm.
whatever it is that you want your body to look like.
Mhm.
We may never go back
Yeah.
to that body that we once had.
Mhm.
And sometimes we have to also just help ourselves to understand, like, are we comparing our bodies to the 30, 40 something year olds that we are? Are we comparing our bodies to when we were 20 years old, and everybody that's
Mhm.
20 years old is pencil thin?
Yeah.
Like, we've got to make sure that we're using the right comparison, but it's getting to that place of acceptance, still wanting to eat right. Yes, I want to exercise, but am I doing it because I want to be healthy?
Mhm.
Am I doing it because I've
Mhm.
got to look like I did beforehand because that's what's going to keep my partner happy, because
Mhm.
that's what society says, because that's
Mhm.
what I feel I must do. Maybe your job, whatever it is you do for a living, is like,
Mhm.
this body has to look this way. But
Mhm.
whatever it is that you are doing
Mhm.
regarding your body, it's got
Mhm.
to be for you.
Mhm.
It's
Yes.
got to be to that
Mhm.
place where it's like, I'm comfortable
Mhm.
here. And if I do decide to make a change, it's
Mhm.
because I want that change.
Mhm.
Like I was somebody that never wore makeup to work. I was like, what is the point?
Mhm.
Who does that? I don't have time for that.
Mhm.
After the second child, those bags were bagging. And
Mhm.
I wasn't feeling comfortable
Mhm.
with the way I was looking. So I was like, you
Mhm.
know what? It took a few months, but I was like, let me just put some powder underneath these eyes, some blush, and a little something on my nose. And I was super happy. And like, my
Mhm.
mood changed. It's like I'm not putting on the full face, but it was like
Mhm.
I want to look fresh.
Mhm.
I want to look as though I care about who I am. It
Mhm.
was changing some of the things I wear. Because
Mhm.
one, when you're breastfeeding, everything has to be easily accessible to the baby.
Accessible. Mhm.
Golly,
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
I don't know what he's going to get off because I'm like, boy,
He's on the self-weaning train. He's gonna self-wean himself.
I think I'm gonna have to push him out the nest. But there is
Okay.
that aspect of,
Mhm.
oh,
Mhm.
I've got all these like cute
Mhm.
jumpsuits, but like they're not accessible to the breast. Oh, I've got these like, so it's even changing that. And
Mhm.
nobody talks about that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Nobody talked about that. I was like, yeah, you want to breastfeed.
Mhm.
What does that really mean?
Mhm. Mhm.
And what it is that I wear, because I have to be conscious and thinking about that, but I
Mhm.
still want to be cute.
Cute. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. See that I think somebody can take that and run with that, like putting together outfits, like some inspiration for, those who are breastfeeding or chest feeding to say, oh my gosh, these are some accessible outfits you can wear and still look cute and still look cute and not look like, okay, you're aging me by 20 years by wearing something that's really not a part of my aesthetic, or really that's going to make me look older or,
Mhm.
make me feel sad, that, oh my gosh, look at what is it?
And
This is
those
what we're
outfits
doing.
exist.
Like, I have to wear this. This is what we've come to. This is what we've come to. Oh my gosh. And it's like, I work with a lot of adolescents who are pregnant and parenting. And it's just to know that it took your body 9 months to grow, to form. Give
That
yourself
part.
some grace as you're seeing what your new body is going to look like, as you're getting, back into the fitness regime that you feel comfortable with, that is working for you. It took your body 9 months to get to this space and place to say in 9 weeks or by the time I head back to school or head back to work, my body is going to be snatched, back to, I mean, that's just not a realistic
Mm-mm.
expectation. And allow your body the time and opportunity and grace to heal the way it is supposed to heal after you've done something so amazing and tremendous in terms of bringing a baby back to life too, as well.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's where we are. I
Mhm.
mean, these self tips are, yeah, we're talking about infants and toddlers, but it goes even beyond that. It
Yes.
goes just as we're just moving and changing through life,
Mhm.
that we don't forget ourselves. But definitely, this
Mhm.
stuff
Yes.
is
Mhm.
so relevant for
Yeah.
those little people that need us for everything,
Everything, exactly.
because we love them and
Mhm.
we're attentive, so we are pouring everything into them.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I've also got to be pouring into myself. Like it's just like for those of us that are nursing, in
Mhm.
order for me to really have the milk that he needs, I
Mhm.
have to be nourishing my body. I've
Mhm.
got to make sure
Mhm.
that I'm drinking a lot of water. What am I taking in? All of that. He has his
Mhm.
allergies, so I'm supposed to stay away from certain things. So it's like I'm
Mhm.
being very mindful because
Mhm.
I've got to feed him. But what about making sure that I'm being mindful because I've got to feed me
Mhm.
so that I can
Okay.
feed
It's like this
them?
whole concept of you cannot pour from an empty cup too, as well,
Can't,
right? So,
can't.
and literally, you cannot pour that milk from an empty from an empty cup. But before we say goodbye, this is something else that has come up like in my practice too, as well. So if you are blessed enough, right, to not be, a parenting alone, right? Like if you have a partner that is in the home with you and you guys are not communicating in terms of, okay, because I know could be another major area of stress in the relationship, but you feel as if your partner, right? If you're the one that birthed and your partner is still there, just kind of like not hands on, has to be
Mm.
told what to do. And like, oh my gosh, like they're just here, but they're not participatory, in the whole process. And I've heard a lot of folks tell me over time, I should not have to tell them what to do.
Just tell them.
Just tell, please, for
Just
the love,
tell them.
please,
And it
please just tell them.
just save
Please.
yourself stress and just say, this is what I need for you to do.
This goes
Because how
into
are
your
you going to
self-care.
get your
Yes,
needs met? Because
yes.
you could just sit and wait and they're never going to do it. And it doesn't mean that they just don't care. Their brains just might not be there. They're like, I need to make sure I do this and this. But if you want to save yourself stress, just tell them what to do.
tell them what to do. And as I say, it's like, and it is okay, because sometimes people need that guidance. They might not see the whole picture. It's like, it's like the coach might see the whole picture, might know
Mhm.
where every player on the field needs to, okay, baby here, person feeding here, other parent washing dishes here. Sometimes
So
you might
funny.
need to write out the playbook, right? And say, I love you. This is how I can feel supported. This is really what's going to help me in terms
Yes.
of, our parenting journey. Are you willing to do these? And if your partner says, "Ooh, this seems like I don't know how to do this," right? Like, "Oh, you want me to be in charge of nighttime diapering?" Let me tell you something. If that baby is not getting a yeast infection, you need to let them handle those nighttime diapers, however they wipe.
That's another thing. I'm glad you said that. I know we like things a particular kind of way. Are they doing it? Sometimes it's like, I just need it done.
Yes.
Where I step back, I'm like, you know what? I would have bathed that baby so differently. But you know what? Right now, I get to sit and thumb through a book while you are bathing.
Yes.
The baby is happy. Whatever.
You're just gonna have to let it be, and give your partner that autonomy, that, oh my gosh, this is their baby too. Like,
Hmm.
okay, I can take care of my baby in my way. We don't have to diminish their efforts, because we think about them on their self-care journey. As I'm, caring for this baby, as I'm being participatory in my baby's life, don't have them bring stuff to us too as well. Like, everything I do is just not perfect enough for my partner, but just to celebrate, like, it's done. The baby is done. The baby is changed. The bottles are clean and sterilized. They might not be put away, but they're clean and they're sterilized. We're gonna celebrate. We're gonna celebrate those efforts and be thankful that we're working together in partnership. And then the burden and that self-care piece is, taken care of, and you guys are sharing the burden together.
Hmm.
Mhm. But
Yes. So we
continue to
hope
think
this
of
has been
ways.
helpful.
We hope so. We hope so. We hope so too. But oh my gosh, we still have so much more that is to come in terms of what Warm has to, offer. So continue
So
to.
excited. So excited.
Mhm.
And we'll be letting you all know.
Yes. So you guys stay tuned until next time.
So please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.